Get in the car. I just want to talk to you. This happened about 2 to 3 years ago, but I still think about it every now and then when I'm walking alone and no one's around. I was volunteering at a school in a rural area about 3 kilometers from my home. I didn't know how to drive and I had an irrational fear of biking, so I didn't mind walking home every Wednesday. I was 19 at the time, but looked at least 3 years younger. Short girl, round face, big eyes, no makeup. It was winter, it was cold, it was raining, and I had no umbrella. It's fine though, I like the rain, and I was covered from head to toe, so I still enjoyed my peaceful walk with music blasting through my earphones. But as I was walking, I saw something in my peripheral vision that I was always scared to see in a situation like this. A car, slowing down, following me. I didn't know what to do. I tried not to assume the worst and turned to see whether that was the only car on that road, or if there were potential witnesses in case something happened. Nope, just this one car following me. No one else around as far as my eyes could see. Then the driver lowers his window and I see his face. Old man, seems to take care of himself. Unfortunately, not weak looking, eyes fixed on me. He says, "Where are you going? Would you like me to take you somewhere?" I took out one earphone. Huh? I had heard him because at that point I had already turned down the music to be more aware of my surroundings. Plus, despite not wanting to assume the worst, I still wanted to buy some time to think of an out. Where can I run? Can someone hear me if I scream? Can anyone else see us? Where can I get help? Well, there was no one and nowhere to run or really hide. I was walking in this very rural area on the side of this road that had a field on one side and woods on the other. There was just one abandoned house up ahead, so I tried to reason with myself. This man is probably just concerned that I'm visibly walking a long distance, right? So I say, "Oh, no thanks, I'm fine. I like walking." And he says, "Oh, no, I don't care about that. I just want you to get in the car." What? Maybe he's concerned because it's raining and I don't have an umbrella. No thanks, I know it's raining, but I like the rain, so I'm okay. And he says, "No, I don't care. I just want you to get in the car. I'll drive you where you need to go." For fuck's sake, really? I'm giving this potential kidnapper 2 excuses and he doesn't take them. His intentions are becoming clearer and clearer. I can't ignore this anymore, and he never breaks eye contact. It's like he's analyzing my every move and reaction. I'm starting to notice that his smile is starting to become more sinister too. Or is it just my fear getting the best of me? This whole time I'm trying to look as friendly and naive as possible because I don't want him to realize that he can't trick me into getting in his car and his only choice would be to use force. Remember, right now, no one can hear me if I scream. He says, "Listen, I just want to talk to you. Can I?" And I say, well, all right, what is it? And he says, "I mean, I want to talk to you properly. Get in the car, I just want to talk." And that's the only moment when he breaks eye contact, and is to slowly look at me from head to toe. He continues, "Well, you know what? How about I park a little bit further and you can join me to have a chat?" And I say, "Sure, I don't know if you'll find a place to park anywhere close, but go ahead if you want, sir. I'm only walking straight anyway." And he says, "Perfect. See you there?" And I say, "Yes, sir." He smiles and drives away. I wait for his car to be far enough so he can't see me, and I immediately run towards the abandoned house to hide while I make a call to my mom for her to come get me. I knew the police wouldn't do anything since I'm not in immediate danger. We've tried to call them once after some serious threats from a stalker, and they just told us to only call them if the stalker was on our property. That's also another story. So, I explain everything to my mom, and she tells me to send her a screenshot of Google Maps with my exact location just in case something happens. and to stay hidden while keeping an eye out on the road to see if that man's car appears again. I'm about to end the call when I see his car drive by again. And what do I see? He's looking right at me, as if he already knew exactly where I was hiding, waving at me with a smile on his face, still with this trying very hard to seem friendly vibe. He knows I'm hiding and on a call with someone now. He knows I wasn't as naive as I pretended to be. Then he just drives away. My mom is still on the phone with me, so I tell her what just happened. She tells me to stay calm and wait for her. We end the call. I wait. He doesn't come back again. My mom's car appears much faster than I anticipated. I get in and we go home. I still can't wrap my head around what exactly happened or what could have happened. One winter morning. This occurred many years ago, but it will forever stay with me and change my views on allowing my kids to ever have their own separate phone line. It was a few weeks after Christmas. My parents had gotten me my own personal phone with my own separate phone line, because that was the cool thing back then, before cell phones were big. I had given my friends a number because who wouldn't, right? Anyway, it was about 3 a.m. and I had been sleeping when my phone begins to ring. I thought, that's odd. Who would be calling this early when we all have to be up for school in the morning? So I answered it, but all I could hear was breathing on the other end. I laughed it off as someone just messing with me and hung up. I tried returning to sleep, but my phone rang again. This time I answered it and said, "Who is this?" Nothing, just breathing again. I was beginning to get irritated. I told them to stop calling me and hung up. I laid down again for about 30 minutes when my phone rang for yet the third time that morning. I was mad, so I answered it and said, "This isn't funny. I'm trying to sleep. I have school in the morning. Stop calling me." This time there was a reply. It was a man's voice, sounded very gravelly, and he laughed and said, "I can see you. You're very pretty. Why don't you come out and play in the snow with me?" And with that, I hung up and started crying. I ran to my parents' room and woke up my mom, telling her what happened. She woke my dad up and made me tell him what happened as well. They both get up, and my dad goes into my room and checks the windows and everything, making sure all the doors are locked, and proceeds to tell me it's just someone playing a sick joke and that everything will be fine. He tells me to just unplug my phone from the outlet. I finally go back to sleep until my mom wakes me up for school. I get up and start getting ready. I open my blinds to let some light in, and I notice in the backyard, on this very frosty morning, that there were handprints all over my window. I called my parents in there, totally freaked out, and my dad immediately calls the police. The police come out to take a report and look at the area. They went to check out the backyard, and sure enough, there were a set of footprints in the snow that led right up to my window. They had gone from the front of the house to the backyard and then my window, and all the way back. The police think that someone had tried to get into the house. A metal detecting experience. In college, 2008 through 2014, I was an avid metal detectorist. I knew of an old military trail and river crossing way back in a secluded portion of the woods that I knew not many others were aware of. I finally decided one winter morning that I was going to go and metal detect it. The trail is about a mile or two from a city park along the South Concho River in San Angelo, Texas. I parked my truck, got all my gear, and began my trek through the raw woods and brush for the trail. About halfway into the trees, I get into a clearing and find a tent and campsite about 40 yards back from the river and very isolated. There are cans lying all around it, some clothes and other stuff that made it evident that someone was using it. I didn't hang around it for long and kept on my way. As I was getting past the tent, this haggard-looking guy comes out of the brush just a few feet from me. I startled him as much as he startled me, and after some innocent chit-chat back and forth, he asked what I was doing in the woods. I told him about the old trail, my metal detecting stuff, and lied that it was a pretty well-known site for hobbyists like me. Something about that seemed to get him a bit anxious. He starts asking me if I mess with his campsite any, and I told him no, except for accidentally stepping on one of the cans. He was mostly concerned if I had looked into the tent itself though, which, truthfully, I hadn't. The guy explained that his wife had kicked him out of their apartment a few days ago, and he was just staying in the woods until he got back on his feet. Didn't really add up in my mind, but I didn't ask anything else about it. Finally, I told him that I was going to get on my way, and with a weird look on his face, he suggested that I not go behind his campsite because he had recently used the bathroom back there. Whether there was fresh fertilizer back there or not, no way was I going to be hanging around there much longer. I went a little further towards the trail, but never felt quite comfortable. So, I made a quick turn towards the river and headed back to my truck rather quickly. I never saw the guy again until about 2 years later. He had a very distinct face, so I remember it, and his picture was in the local news for being apprehended by authorities for the murder of his wife. He killed her and then buried her in the exact area of the woods where I encountered him on that day.